So as you guys can see, this is the this car gave Ralph and myself and pretty much everybody the scare of a lifetime when it, disappeared inside his trailer with his truck attached to it, as he was scheduled to bring it down here to the shop to do some upholstery work on it. But just circling back a little bit, this car came to be in my possession probably 15 years ago, 17 years ago. I bought it in Japan, and it was just a really nice build. And at the time, I was playing around with 34s and doing a lot of stuff for the movie. We were preparing for the Fast franchise, and so I never really got to this car, and I put it up for sale. And a mutual friend of ours told Ralph about it. Ralph came down, great guy, bought it.
You posted on Craigslist.
Oh, I thought it was through Dave.
You posted on Craigslist the R34s and the R32s.
Got it.
And in the background, I saw this Haku.
Oh, no way.
And I messaged you, hey, is a Haku for sale? And you kind of went, yeah. And then that's how it started.
Oh, no way.
I just looking, Skyline.
Well, where did Dave from Mazda come into the picture?
After I bought the car, he came with me. I flew down to Long Beach.
Okay.
And then he came with me and drove me to your place.
Got it.
And then that started the whole deal with
Small World.
And then him getting a car. So.
Okay, so that's awesome. So that's the story. It's funny.
Yeah.
It was only 100 years ago. I mean, we've known each other for a while now.
Because that big, the big cigarette boat was in the back.
Yeah.
And it had all the other ones, and it was in the very back.
That's funny. So you saw it.
I opened it up like, hey, there's a Haku.
That's a typical.
Because I went to Japan in 2002, and we were looking for one. My buddy, Michael Spreadberry, Espresso Motorsports.
Yeah.
He's like, Ralph, you're too big. You don't need a coupe. You need a Skyline.
That's
so
cool.
when I got back,
that was in 02.
Yeah, 02. And then I kept looking, and it's harder then to find anything, connections.
Yeah.
So when I was looking and I saw it in the background, I was like, I gotta ask.
That is funny.
So
because at one point I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. It wasn't really on my radar to sell. Alex had expressed a lot of interest in it early on, and he was just I think he was still a teenager at the time, and that makes sense then, because we were selling a lot of the Skyline bodies. We were selling the 34 shells, the 33 shells, the 30. That was all when we were prepping for the movie.
Right.
It didn't have an engine. I bought it off of a dealership in Tokyo. I think it was Tokyo, somewhere in Japan, and it was sold with no drivetrain, and it was just fun. Having the car sitting there and dreaming about all of the things we were going to do to it. It was my first Hakuska. And so when Ralph came into the picture and he had ideas for it, he bought it. And I actually supplied I think I got a Datsun.
It was a remanufactured Maxima motor. Yeah,
Maxima motor, straight six that I supplied with him. It came out of a wrecked car. And I think he ran that drivetrain for a while. So he ran that drivetrain for a few years, I guess, right?
Well, for 15 years.
Yeah, you ran that for a long, long time.
I was able to get some Makunis from another Z owner down here that put an RB in a Z, Series 1. So I got the header and the carbs. Yeah. And it looked good. It sounded pretty good, but it was really slow.
Yeah.
And I was happy with that because I was able to drive it.
It was just a classic, nostalgic Nissan of its time. So, fast forward to today, and, Ralph is an engineer. He's just extremely critical of everything he builds, and which is evident by this car. And he was telling me about this idea of having Rebello build this crazy motor, and at the time I was running an SR in my Hakuska, and I really wanted to go back to a 6-cylinder. At one point I was contemplating putting an RB26 in it, and then after seeing all of the stuff that he put into this thing, I said, okay, I'm down for doing the same motor. So ours is being built as we speak, and Ralph has just been instrumental in helping it come to fruition. There's lots of things we're going to do to it, but how limited are these? I mean, how few of these exist?
I believe he sold 13 units, 12 to 13 units right now.
Okay.
He's producing 4 more, which I'm on the in line for the next one.
Got it.
Because I'm trying to design some parts for the engine.
Right.
There's the water manifold that I've designed and done that. We're working on a valve cover. I
mean, I just love the fact that it sits as if it was from the factory. I think when this build is complete, this is going to be very impressive build. So yeah, we're doing the same thing, and you know, as some of you may know, I bought a Ken Mary a while back, and it's over at Pexi right now getting some custom suspension built for it. I got to take you over there when we're done here, and I had built an RB26, and the RB26 was going to go in that car because I wanted to have factory EC and a power assist rack, and so we're going to do a little bit different build on that car, but this just inspired me to go a different route with this, and so I'm kind of following his coattails on this. It's really his idea, it's his build. I just love this. What drivetrain what transmission are you bolted up to?
So that's the CD00A. It's the newer version of the CD009.
Okay.
And so Derek also from Dotson Works does the bell housing. So I was able to get the bell housing. He made it for me with the proper tilt.
Got it.
He doesn't like this tilt. When I told him I wanted to tilt it this way, I wanted to lean like the S20, he was like, but he did it for me. He cut the manifold so it sits flush with the tilt that way.
Right.
When he made the bell housing, he made sure that there was a second, or there's an alternative casting where he could just spin it.
Right.
So the casting would work for me.
I'm so glad you did that.
And now he's realizing that's more people are going to want that. So he's really designing his products to meet that need.
Yeah, because the original motor in the Fairlady, was that tilt also, or was that straight?
It depends on. So the S20s were always tilted the same way this one is, but you know, obviously the L motor's tilted the other direction.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So,
you know, talking about the scare that we all had, I cannot stress enough how much me personally, when Ralph called me and gave me the news that his truck and trailer with Skyline inside had been stolen, I instantly got online and I pushed it to everybody I know, and I just can't thank enough the community for reposting and posting and posting and posting. And how many hours later did we recover everything? I mean,
about 18 hours later.
18 hours later, not because of the police, not because of, you know, and I'm not saying that law enforcement didn't do their job. They're busy, and especially in Northern California, they've got lots of things to tend to. But the fact is that all of this reposting and the social media community really helped guarantee this car getting back in Ralph's possession. And I can't thank you guys enough for getting that message out there. You know, the community sticks together. It was a local fire. Tell the story. I mean, it's such a cool story.
So, you know, as I think about it, it's an amazing story, but all day searching for the car from Oakland to Richmond, looking all the places where you typically don't want to be, trying to find a trailer and a car sitting someplace. There's a Richmond PD writing a report. I walk up to him and I say, hey, my truck and trailer got stolen. Where would be a good place to start looking? I've worked in this area.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, your truck and trailer? Oh, you're the guy with the Skyline. And I go, yeah. And this was, I don't know, 6-7 hours after it was stolen.
That's
He's already seen the repost. He says, yeah, and he gave me the name of the guy that reposted it, which I know.
That's amazing.
And so I kept looking. I get home at about 5 o'clock, 5:30, try to eat some dinner, and my phone's going crazy with everybody telling me how sorry they are for me losing the car, and they're thinking about it, and they're looking for it. I got a post or a DM from a guy in Europe. Hey, if it comes here, I'll make sure I'll look for your parts.
Yeah.
You know, just amazing.
It is
amazing. And then I set the phone down. I'm not going to look at it anymore. And then I pick it back up and I set it down. And finally I looked at it, and it was this firefighter, Latino firefighter group, Instagram group for the Oakland Fire Department.
Yeah.
And he says, I think I have your trailer. How do I get a hold of you? So I jump up out of the couch, and I don't need to jump up, but I'm trying to get him my phone number.
Okay, yeah.
And, 2 or 3 minutes later, he calls me and says, hey, I think you got your trailer. And I think the first thing I asked was, is the car still in it?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes. And I go, so you need to get down here now. And so...
How far away were you?
Vallejo to Oakland is about
Oakland.
30 minutes, 25 minutes. And so I jump in my other truck, and I'm running down there, driving a little quick, but not going crazy. Not going crazy.
Yeah.
And so I get down there, and I said, hey, where's the trailer? And the firehouse is right here, and the trailer's kind of on a side street. I didn't even notice it. And to be honest with you, I talked to the firefighters for like 10 minutes before I even walked over there, just thanking them. It's like, the car's going to be what it's like, whether it's dented or it's perfect. Right. It's there. Yeah. So let's, give it to these guys and thank them and tell them how I appreciate it. And he told me the whole story about the trailer looked weird because the tongue was way down in the front. Yeah. It looked like, was it stolen? I guess they drop off a lot of stolen vehicles there. Right. And he goes, was it stolen? And then he says, I think I want a trailer. And so he finally looked at Facebook for stolen trailers. Yeah. And he said he was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, about ready to give up, he said. And he's like scrolling a little more, and he goes, hey, there's a trailer. Yeah. And the guys, his other firefighters, like, no way. And they got a call. And so they had to go do a fire call. Yeah. And they come back, and he was sitting on the opposite side of the truck, and he says, hey, is the license plate number this? Yeah. And the guy goes, yes. And then they were kind of ecstatic because they're like, you found a stolen trailer. And then they parked the truck and they walked over there. And when he called me, he says, hey, I'm not leaving this. I'm going to stand here until you get here. That's badass. But if I get a call, I got to go. And I said, hey, just do me one favor. Yeah. I said, call me before you leave. Yeah. And he goes, okay, I can do that. Because if he was going to call me and says you got to leave, I'm going to say, all firefighters have knives. Yeah. Pop the 2 tires on the street side. Yeah, absolutely. We can deal with that later. Yeah. But I got there in time. Fantastic. Everything was fine. They actually, the chief showed up for that area. That's cool. And they wanted to take pictures, which is one of the pictures on Instagram. We'll post those pictures up. And so he wanted to give it to his union and kind of just show the good that firehouse had done. Yeah, that's fantastic. So... I mean, and that's just the moral of the story is social media is powerful, and this fire team, God, thank you, can't thank you enough. Thanks for looking out for all of us, and I was just so stoked. I slept great that night because I was, look, we've all been there, and it's not just the amount of time and money. It's a passion. This is a passion. This is our escape. We go out into the garage in our barn or wherever we work on these toys, warehouse, wherever it might be. This is our escape from our day-to-day routine, and we all get it. And the fact that I think there was close to over 400 reposts of posts that went out on social media is just again a testament to all of us knowing what it's like to be in those shoes. So, can't thank all of you guys in the community enough for reposting that. It truly helped, in my opinion, save this car from ultimately being shipped overseas or what would have ever happened to it. So, but yeah, man. So now the story continues. This car is just going to be just fantastic when it's done. I'm so excited to see it in its final stages and see it on the road. So. And no damage, right? No damage. No damage that I've seen as of yet. Yeah, I mean, we're missing some keys. We're gonna get the cylinder a key specialist over here, and we're gonna get keys remade for it. The keys got lost in this whole ordeal, but yeah, we're gonna do some upholstery work to it while it's here, and it's just fun seeing it again. It's been so long for me. It looks nothing like it did. Ralph did a full rotisserie restoration on this. There was rust issues that he addressed and just did an insanely nice job. You got to go to California Hako. I'll post up a link to see this build in its entirety on Instagram. It's unbelievable.